out of the divorce, I got $600,000.
Okay, where the is it?
It's gone. Completely gone.
Into where?
Bought a house that was $330,000. I bought it sight unseen.
Oh no.
Yeah, I saw the outside because I drove by it. But
Oh, good, you
when
drove by it.
Yeah, it was in shambles.
You don't know where that other $150,000 to $200,000 went, do you?
Oh, we got a good one for you guys here today. Shout out to Caleb Hammer and them boys over at the Financial Audit. They found a young lady who received $600,000 post-divorce, all right, making her damn near a millionaire after being with the wrong sucker, but then inevitably blew it. What? How often do we go over these stories of lottery winners, NBA players, athletes? Shit, wasn't it just Odell Beckham Jr., who was a part of the NFL, soft complaining about achieving $100 million and kind of complaining about it, right? Like that it's not as much money as what you think. Like, shut up.
If I didn't have $1 in my account right here today as we speak, I'm gonna be straight for the rest of my life. No question. I always explain this to people, like, bro, you give somebody a 5-year, $100 million contract, right? What is it really? It's 5 years for 60. You're getting taxed. That's 12 a year, you know, that you have to spend, use, save, invest. If you're spending $4 million a year, that's really $40 million over 5 years, 8 a year. That's a 5-year span of where you're getting $8 million. Can you make that last forever?
It's clear that when people who have never had money suddenly get a huge payday and they don't know how to manage it or don't bring it to the correct professionals to manage it, it tends to turn out like this. Let's take a look. Without further ado.
Okay, so what's going on here? What is happening? What is happening?
So basically, I have a unique relationship with money because
Okay, surprise! Someone on the show with a unique relationship with money. Okay.
Yeah, because growing up, like after my family came to the US, they were like very poor, like starting over from being in another country. I was not. No.
Oh, how old are you when you came
here? 5 years old.
Okay.
And so growing up with my parents, they didn't have a whole lot of money because they had to start from scratch.
Yeah,
and
it happens. Neither did mine. Okay.
Yeah. And so I got a lot of like my money anxiety from like growing up with my parents not budgeting and basically just always being stressed about money.
Well, let's fast forward a little bit. What's happening here?
So
like, I think a lot of us come from
Excuses.
places with just bad money. This is America. You know, people spend money they don't have. They come from flip situations. Okay, cool. So what's happening?
So I have an ex-husband. I was married before.
An ex-husband, 29.
Yes.
New husband, ex-husband. Okay, wow.
Yes. So this is my
Alright.
second marriage that I'm in right now. But with my
I can't even
previous
get
husband, yeah. So out of the divorce, I got $600,000. Yes.
Why?
That was part of our settlement. So I could have taken more, but I didn't, which I'm kind of now regretting a little.
Wait, why could you have taken more and why didn't you?
Well, I could have, because if I were doing like a divorce with like 50-50 split, I would have gotten.
Could you have done 50-50 split?
I could have.
So this was a pretty well-to-do person.
Yes. So I don't know exactly
prenup?
how much I would have. No, he tried to get me to sign a prenup,
Dummy.
and then I didn't sign a prenup, and then he tried to get me to sign a postnup, and I didn't sign a
Of
postnup.
course.
Post nut.
Yes.
Imagine being smart enough, lucky enough, as hardworking enough to become a multimillionaire and deciding to put at least 50% of it on the line from a young lady that wears pink wigs. It's not even a good pink wig. Did anyone in production tell her to not pull it down towards the forehead? I could still see her hair underneath that shit. Studies show that couples that have prenuptial agreements, their marriages last longer, lower rates of divorce. Why? Because these demon serpent women are less incentivized to get divorced if they cannot have access to what you created prior to the marriage. Kill the incentives, lower the divorce rate. By the way, I'm tired of hearing all of y'all excuses about the way that y'all brought up and your association with money. There are rich people that are bad with money, and then there's poor people that are bad with money. But nevertheless, there's actually an important twist that's coming up here in a few. Let's listen.
And so Yeah, we decided in the settlement agreement that I would get 600,000 because I didn't want to take
Why
more
the f- do I have so
Oh,
much
how kind
debt
of you.
here to go through on your end? Where did the $600,000 go? When did you get the 600,000?
2 years ago.
Okay, where the f- is it?
It's gone. Completely gone.
Where the f- into where?
Well, I bought a house and
With the 600,000.
with the 600,
Okay, so it's
but
not gone.
it's not gone. Right.
It's tied up.
So I bought a house that was 330,000 and I bought it like outright. So like it's paid in full. So I
Okay,
don't
so
have
it goes half the cash.
yes.
Okay.
But then I bought it sight unseen. And so when we
Oh.
entered the home,
Oh no.
yeah, I saw the outside because I drove by it. But
Oh, good, you
when
drove
we-
by it.
Yeah. When we
Oh.
entered the home, though, it was in shambles. So we had to renovate it completely, like gut job. So we saved some money by tearing everything down ourselves, but the renovation was like $100,000.
There's still 150 to 200,000 hours left. Where did it go?
I already know the seller is somewhere watching is laughing maniacally. Oh, like, oh, this was the buyer that took that ridiculous ass offer. But this is one of the most diabolical things that I have ever heard. You come into a great deal of money, and instead of investing appropriately, you could have just gotten a mortgage and put the majority or the lion's share of that $600 into the market and would have had way more to show for it. You do not buy houses outright. You do not buy cars outright until that amount of money that you're giving up for that, you could just burn it on a front lawn and not even care about it. But until you can do that, leverage, or shall I say intelligent leverage, is your best bet. Blowing $600,000 in a period of 2 years, most of which is due to your ridiculousness. Sight unseen? What? The monies that you gain husband hopping could have changed your life, but instead, here you go up on financial audit. Let's proceed.
Spending? Well, we had to buy
f***ing way. In
furniture.
2 years.
Yes.
Nice furniture then. Apparently.
Yes, which you'll see I'm in debt for some furniture.
Oh, f- me. So
too.
like the cash didn't cover. You don't know where that other 150,000 to 200,000 hours went, do you? You don't know.
So part of that thing is in my ex relationship, like I was spending $5,000 a month on like bull spending, and like he was kind of just taking care of everything.
How long are you guys married?
Married for 5, but together for 10 years.
10 years. How old are you
So-
guys when you got married?
So I met him when I was 19, and he
young for
was
marriage.
twice my age.
So when was your
so I
first husband?
think
40?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And I definitely think I was groomed in the beginning.
That's a strong word.
It is.
That word gets thrown around a lot right now. Just kind of like the word pedophile, the word, the
Yeah.
R word, and a lot of other words
lot.
have kind of lost their meanings
A
because.
lot.
Yes.
So are you sure? Because it's a very methodical
not
process of separating people from all their connections in order to make them feel cornered so that over the course of many years, likely starting from a young age, they cannot escape the position
Right.
that they are in at that point.
Mind you, she was an adult. Pink-haired women like this will take one feminist studies class and come to the conclusion that man bad and I must have been groomed.
Yes. So, I mean, I met him when I was 19, so I wasn't like young. I was technically an adult. by
Yeah,
then.
you're 2 years into adulthood.
Yeah.
Still probably mentally immature, but you know, you're 2 years into adulthood.
Yes.
You can
But
make your own
definitely over time, it was more like I couldn't spend some time with friends or.
Okay, yeah, it
Yeah,
starts to get a
so-
little. You
Stop
started
it, Caleb.
separating you from your groups.
Yes,
Stop it.
exactly.
Okay,
He kind of
yeah.
started separating me. And then it didn't turn into like such a great kind of relationship.
What do you mean?
And he definitely like used money to control me.
Okay.
So
The reason that I hate talk like this is that a man is not necessarily evil for trying to separate you from your friends, because what if your friends engage in ridiculous behavior and he's trying to protect you from your own decision making? But instead, they'll want to divorce you, paint it as abuse in front of a judge, and walk away with $600,000. Let's go.
In what ways?
So he would be like, you know, I was spending my $5,000 a month and he
Yeah.
was just paying off my credit card and I didn't have to worry about anything. And then, he would get mad at me and like throw me out of the house and say, you can't come back here. And so then I would sleep in my car.
What?
Or
the why? Wait.
yeah. So
No reason given, or because you spent the 5,000?
Oh, my boy Caleb, there's always a reason.
he thought that
I mean,
I
that's still insane either way, but.
Yeah, he thought that I was cheating on him.
Well,
Which,
were you?
No, I
Okay.
wasn't. And so,
those
but he
guy
had kind of
friends.
this idea of like any male that I had a conversation with or that I knew.
Oh, this dude's
was
weird.
basically, yeah.
Not necessarily.
So,
Okay.
yes. So I grew up. So you have to think of it from my perspective, right?
Well, yeah, the guy is weird because he's just giving her $5,000 a month carte blanche. But imagine as a man being chastised for giving you everything that you want in life. And if a man is to stand up boundaries or expectations of you and your behavior, then it's the guy that is inherently weird or abusive or narcissistic. They want the benefits of modern and traditional at the same damn time. And I'm just tired of people not calling it out. As a man, you are held responsible for protection as well as provision. Yet if the result of her decision making destabilizes the relationship, the man more often than not will be held accountable and often faces the blame for the failure of that relationship, as we just see in this exchange right here.
From the age of 19
Yep.
through the age of 28, 27, when I officially got divorced,
Yeah.
like I did not learn anything about money.
No, you were just given money to spend, essentially.
Yeah, I just had a credit card and
It's interesting.
I could spend whatever I wanted. And
It's definitely
didn't even
much
have to
more of a
look.
lack of independence that a lot of people. There's skills that need to be developed through the early 20s, mistakes that need to be made almost, if not at least the skills around them being learned before making the mistakes. Well, yeah, you wouldn't have had the opportunity in that situation if it was really as closed off as you're making it sound like. Then you guys got divorced. Who triggered the divorce? Who called for the divorce?
I did.
Okay.
So after
So
like,
you're realizing
Of course.
it.
yeah, there was multiple years where I was like, I need to leave. And so at that time I started, because I was still working while I was with him. It's not like I was just
You got married again
teaching.
pretty damn quick.
Yes. So when I left him, I knew for several years that I had to leave him. Like it wasn't a situation, but for so long I thought that like I couldn't leave because if I leave, then I have nothing kind of mentality.
Yeah.
But then after a scary situation, I just packed up my car and drove up to North Carolina. I was
As
in
people
Florida
do.
before. Yeah. And so I moved up here, and then this is where I met my now husband, who's much better than my ex.
Yeah. Little less of the groomster.
Yes, very much so.
Wow. Okay. So I'm assuming you ended up finding yourself in debt throughout the situation because you were kind of almost like starting at 19 again now at 29 because you never went through the period of learning those behaviors through any kind of independence.
Yo, the excuses.
It's interesting. That's something we've not had before. That's really interesting. Still a little confused how we had about $200,000 and yet there's this debt in front of me. If that was all consumer spending,
So
like that still confuses me. But let's get through this and let's try to figure it out.
Yes.
I want to know from your perspective. I want to see where you see yourself today. Give me a score 0 to 10 of your finances. 10 being the absolute best that you can think of. 0 being the absolute worst that you can think of. Where do you think you stand?
I got a question for all the ladies that are down up in there, the MTRs. How do y'all feel about when y'all are effectively babied, right? Like she was a 24-year-old adult. She was with the guy for like 5 years, made a fully adult decision to get married. She had 5 years within that to walk away if she really wanted to, chose to stay. She says it's because she was being groomed. I say it's because he got a little Akash in him, right? He's a little bit of a money validator, a simp. And then after that, she just gets married again after getting this large ass settlement. And then they just lightly glance over it as if she was a 24-year-old child that just didn't know no better. Isn't that degrading to women? Or is it that there's just so much insane power of never being held accountable to being an adult, or so much insane power of victimhood mentality within that it's just too good to give up? Everything is an excuse of why the relationship ended. Everything is an excuse of why she was unable to understand enough about finances and wasted $600,000 in 2 damn years. And I think once you stop babying people and hold them accountable, that will finally give them the opportunity to hold a mirror up to themselves and finally learn. Last point, and I touched on it a little bit in the beginning, but let's say I was in my mid-20s and I came across a $600,000 lotto ticket. Here's what I would have done in order to prepare myself for a financial freedom future. Obviously, I wouldn't have blown it in a couple of years, but let me share how I would think about it. I'd probably take a third of that, probably about $200,000, and just boom, just put it in a stock portfolio. And I'm talking index funds, right? The S&P 500, reliable long-term wealth building and investment, maybe some growth-focused ETFs, things where I know I can get about 8 to 12% per year and just let the magic of compound interest develop over time. I take about $150,000, maybe $200,000 of that $600,000, and I go directly into real estate, put a down payment on a rental property, and it wouldn't be sight unseen, right? I'd go there, right? Or if it's not in the place that I live in, I'd have, a real estate agent, FaceTime me or something like that in order for me to at least see what it is that's going on, and as well as get their recommendation on the kind of work that needs to get done from it, right? And that would be done in order to hedge against periods of the stock market that are not showing returns. So you get that monthly income, and the thought is that it'll grow in equity value over time. I take about $50,000 of this money and just put it directly into a high yield savings account or a money market account, and I would not touch it whatsoever. I think of that money as my emergency fund, right? If everything was to go to shit, everything was to hit the fan, I get fired from my job. Oh, by the way, I would not quit my job, especially in my mid-20s. I still need to work on building my financial foundation and my base and building skill sets that I can utilize for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years of my life. And I would take the remainder of this money, I think we're somewhere up at like $50,000 to $100,000, and I would put it towards myself. Personal development or starting a small business. I remember I did content, and this got to be like 5-6 years ago, but this was during the time period that Bitcoin, there's been a couple of times that Bitcoin has seen a major push. And I made content at that time of why people should not invest in the Bitcoin. Now, my overall reason for creating that content was that not that there aren't certain types of people that should invest, but the way that Bitcoin was being positioned was as this like get rich or quick kind of scheme. And I think a lot of the content creators that were creating content about it weren't exactly saying that, but the way that they were treating the movement was as such. So then you get all these people betting the house on it, whereas the majority of the money that they can earn or receive amazing returns on their value would be if they, instead of taking that money towards Bitcoin, invest it on yourself. I will 10 out of 10 times, 100 out of 100, bet on myself as opposed to some inflationary asset that I don't know where it's going to go. But that's because I trust myself. I know that I have a love of growth. I know that I have a love of continuous improvement. I know that I want to be bigger, better, faster, stronger as the years go on. So while Bitcoin during that time has been 4x'd, maybe 5x, maybe, which is great, I have 100x'd because I chose to invest in myself. I've learned incredible new skill sets, and I've built this YouTube channel out of nothing. As I worked in corporate America, I was making over $100,000 a year in corporate America in a low cost of living city. And I have 100x'd what it is that I was doing 10 years removed from getting my Master's of Business Administration. Quick emergency meeting. Let's talk. Have you ever realized that life is a game that you can win, but felt like nobody ever gave you the rule book to it? Now, this is a problem for most men today. They're out here just reacting to the chaos around us instead of winning within it. They don't know the rules, so they operate confused. But the truth is that it's impossible to win at a game that you do not understand. which is why I created Transcending the Red Pill and the Modern Man's Playbook. One is going to give you the education, the history, psychology, and the cultural shifts that created today's dating market. The other, the execution, the step-by-step playbook to thrive with clarity and to win. Now together, it's going to form the ultimate knowledge pack designed to transform your mindset and life in under 30 days. Now you could grab each separately, but for a limited time, you can get both bundled together and save 20%. Now that's lifetime access for less than the cost of a date that'll go nowhere. So if you're ready to stop guessing and to start mastering the new rules of life, click the link in the description below and start your 30-day transformation, because you don't want to wait for clarity. You want to learn the system to master the game and to win it. Go now. But anyway, and sorry about that, guys. I wasn't doing the math on the fly. I might be a little bit off. I might be like $150,000 off. But you get the picture. I just put the remainder, in an index fund, right? Maybe split a little bit more into real estate and just go from there. But this is not rocket science. I think that, in being raised in a capitalistic environment, what you realize is that the moment that you walk out the door, everything that's put in front of you, ooh, shiny this, ooh, bright lights there, ooh, branding there, everything is put in front of you in order to extract dollars from you. And you have to, just like I tell you guys, within the dating game, you got to practice eggplant discipline. Within the professional game as well, you got to be able to do that. But then when it comes to financial independence, which is one of the greatest feelings on this planet, not having to wake up each and every day and be on the hamster wheel of life, not because you need to, but because you want to, are two completely different things. But the fact is that if I didn't have this mindset, right, I still might be on the hamster wheel because I need to be as opposed to wanting to be, all right? And I think within that, me knowing how to manage short-term gratification, knowing how to manage my financial education, and then knowing what to do with it, how to grow money with that, is game that's worth its weight in gold. But all right, appreciate you guys for rocking with me here today. Hopefully you learned something new within this content. Hopefully it's a value add to you. Hopefully you guys are absorbing this information as much as possible and instituting it into the way that you think about yourself, your life, and are thinking from a long-term strategic perspective, because God willing, you're going to have a long-ass life. All right? Until next time, family. Peace.